Hi, welcome to our Project 31 channel. We're glad you're here. I'm Jane Wilson. This is Debbie Justice. She's one of our leaders in Project 31. And today we're going to talk about hair loss from chemo. So you did chemo.
I did.
Because you were triple negative. So you did lots of chemo.
I did.
And you lost your hair.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So let's talk about, first of all, from a practical point of view, what that looked like, and then we'll kind of talk about the emotional aspect of it. So practically, were you one of those, I'm going to shave my head, I'm going to rock this, and I'm going to do all the things, or were you sitting in a corner sucking your thumb, waiting for the last hair to fall out?
I was probably in between.
Probably in between, good, good. Neither one of those is really perfect, right?
No. I just remember, I tend to Google, so I knew what chemo I was going to take, so I'd Googled it, and it said, that possible hair loss and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I can deal with that. And I guess it was my surgeon or oncologist said, yeah, you there's a good chance you'll lose your hair, but there was always this little chance that I wouldn't.
Right.
So I kind of hung on to that. Go to my first chemo, my nurse that I have that day, we're just chit-chatting as she's hooking everything up, and she said, yeah, she was 2 years ago, had breast cancer, did the exact same chemo I was going to do. And so I said, well, yeah, my doctor said, I might not lose my hair. And she just goes, oh, honey, your hair's going to fall out. I went, oh, it is? Yeah, she said, like day 15, it's going to fall out. I went, oh, okay. So I was like, all right. So, you get the chemo, you're dealing with the side effects, the hair's still there, everything's going. And then it, right around probably day 14, 15, exactly like she predicted, it just started feeling dry and my head was tingly. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh no. And then it just...
Then it starts coming out.
Just like huge clumps, yes. And so...
In the shower.
Oh, it was gross. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. So,
on your pillow.
Yeah. So it was just feeling really yucky. And so...
how long was your hair at the time?
It was probably about like here. No, it wasn't. I had actually cut it shorter in anticipation that I might lose.
Oh, okay.
And got a pink swoop through it.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I was like, if I'm going to just do it. So
it's just hair, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But anyway, so it's feeling yucky. And my friend that cuts my hair couldn't do it that weekend. She said, I'll have to be someday next week. And I was like, oh, I can't stand it. So my husband's in the shower, and I just get the clippers out and go, whoosh. I did.
You?
I couldn't stand it. He came out of the shower and he goes, and I went, you got to finish the back. And he went, okay. So he did.
Wow.
I just did it.
Wow.
I know.
And then, so what did you do for hair covering? For your head covering, did you wear hats or scarves, or did you buy a wig, or what'd you do?
I got a free wig through the wellness center at Integris Cancer.
Okay.
And it was cute. And I wore it about 3 times probably, because I didn't like it. Was too tight, too hot, I just didn't like it. So I usually wore, I'm a bit of a casual person, so I had a whole array from friends and thrift stores of like ball caps.
Okay.
And then I did those, I think they call them boho scarves. It's like a tube of fabric. Because if you don't, at the back of your ball cap, you see that your head's bald. So I would wear that and put the hat over it. So I had, coordinating all kinds of colors, and so that's what I wore. I was horrible at tying a scarf.
Yeah.
Like it always looked like, like a rag lady or something. I mean, it just looked awful.
Yeah, so you needed it to be easy, just
I did.
fit on.
Yeah. And then with work, because I do like remodeling, so I had a work ball cap that I would wear while I was doing that. Because I was not one that could go out with no hair.
Yeah.
I just couldn't do it. I always had to have it covered.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I couldn't,
I applaud the women that can do that.
Me too. I might be able to do it now. Then I couldn't.
I couldn't. Mm-hmm. I think I couldn't do it because I didn't want people thinking I was the sick lady.
Right. I didn't want all that attention.
I didn't either. Mm-hmm.
So to just go out and look normal was all I wanted.
Yeah.
I just wanted to look normal.
Yeah. Agreed. Even though there weren't any eyebrows.
Right. But you can draw that in a little bit. And,
I tried those stencils. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, I'm not good with that.
I looked like, I don't know what I looked like, but I couldn't do the stencils. So I just would do a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I just kind of.
Yeah.
Just enough to get by. So emotionally, how is that? Like, it sounds like it wasn't too traumatic if you
Shaved it myself.
shaved it yourself. You were on top of it.
I was. Though it gets, I think it gets wearing, if that's the word. I hate it, because you can't help but, especially when I finished chemo, I thought it would grow back real fast.
Quickly.
It didn't.
Mm-mm.
And I kept, the eyebrows came out, but I still had some eyelashes, and then I finished chemo, then all the eyelashes fell out. I was like, well, that's not fair.
Right.
And,
And they'll fall out a couple times
oh yeah,
trying to
it wasn't just the first,
regenerate.
and then the eyebrow would kind of come back, and then half of it would be gone.
Right, they'd be spotty.
So, and then the thing they don't tell you in the books or the Google or the doctor is that you lose your nose hair and your ear hair.
So what I told a friend of mine was, imagine all the places where God put hair. And he put it there for a reason.
Yes.
Right? And now you don't have it. So like your nose drips
Oh,
all
it
the
drips
time.
all the time.
Your hiney gets a little chafed.
Yes.
Because you got no protection there.
Yeah.
Right? Now the good news is you don't have to shave your legs.
No,
Don't
or
have to
your
shave
armpits.
pits.
No.
So that was the only bonus, I would
Right.
say.
Absolutely.
If I could have kept that, I would have kept that part.
I did have a friend tell me, she said, when you lose your hair, just think about it, that's a sign the chemo is working.
Yeah, whatever.
And I went, okay, well,
yeah.
But I would kind of in that mindset sometimes think that.
Yes.
As I'm looking and, and there's like 3 hairs and, and then, but.
It was super traumatic for me.
Oh.
I mean, well, first of all, I was 40. So I think when you're young, I don't know, for me, could I handle it today better? I would like to think that today I could handle it better. I've had more life experience, all of that. I don't know that. I think it still would be traumatic for me, but maybe not as. It was super traumatic for me. And I, like you, kept thinking, maybe my hair won't fall out. Maybe my hair won't fall out. And because I did adriamycin.
Yep, that's what I did.
And the girl, same thing. She's like, oh, honey.
It's going to fall out.
It's going to fall out. You're not going to have any hair.
Yeah.
And so I had some good advice. Somebody said, if you're going to go buy a wig, because I had a very professional job.
Oh.
And so wearing ball caps and stuff that was not going to work for the environment I was in. And so, we still couldn't, at this time, nobody was wearing jeans to work. That was not a thing, right? People were still wearing real clothes to work. And so they said, go get a wig before your hair falls out.
I did that
Let
too.
the hairstylist or the wig person see what your hair looks like, and kind of, if you're trying to mimic that, let them see what your hairstyle is and your color and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, that sounds good. So I went to the wig salon that had been recommended to me, and the women were just not kind or helpful.
Oh.
It was bad. So I kind of cried. I had took a friend and it was just kind of I didn't walk out with a wig. It was a bad experience. So my daughter came into town, and we still had a few more days before the hair was going to start falling out. My daughter came into town, and so I asked somebody else, I'm like, where do I go? So somebody recommended that I would go, and I don't even think this place is there anymore. High Fashion Wigs.
Oh, I knew you were going to say
over by the
that,
fairgrounds.
yes.
So this was 25 years ago. Anyway, the most wonderful, giant, gay black man said, oh, honey, come here. I got you. Because I told him what was going on. I said, I'm getting ready to lose my hair. I'm having chemo. He's like, girl, I got you. He made me feel wonderful and loved and beautiful. And he was trimming, he was like, once I picked one, he was like trimming it and making it fit my face just right and everything. So it was a wonderful experience. So now I still hated the wig. It was not my favorite thing. And they're hot. They're kind of uncomfortable. And I wore it way too much. And now I think if I was going to have to replicate that experience, I would buy more than one. I would have a rotation of 2 or 3 that I could kind of, but I couldn't do the ball cap thing at home. I wouldn't wear the wig. But if my head got cold, because sometimes that was a thing.
It does.
I had a little wrap type deal that I would wear that was easy to, like a really soft kind of scarf. It wasn't even, you didn't have to tie it. You just almost a beanie, but not, right? So I had one of those. I didn't sleep in anything like that because it was just too hot.
I thought so too.
But, just around the house, I would wear that sometimes. Sometimes around the house, I would just be bald. But it was so traumatic. And it was the same thing. My hair would start coming out in clumps. And I'd think, okay, well, that's not bad. Like, if that's all that happens, if that's all, like, I can still, like, make this.
I can move this over here.
Right. I can kind of, do the comb over and all the things. Finally, my husband goes, come here. And he grabs me by the hand. Because he's always had a beard, so he has a beard trimmer, He's like, let me shave this. And I'm just standing there bawling.
Aww.
I'm like, I don't want to lose my hair. He's like, just let me do this. So he shaved the back and stuff where I couldn't see. And I mean, it was super traumatic for me. Like, I think losing my hair was more traumatic to me than losing a breast.
Wow.
I really, because it was such an outward sign of what was going on. Nobody had seen my breast except my surgeons, my doctors, and my husband.
Right.
I could hide all of that. I couldn't hide the hair thing. And I'll never forget, I was horrified one time. I was sitting in church, and apparently my tag was sticking out or something of my dress. And the woman behind me starts trying to, and I thought, oh, Jesus, she is going to pull this wig. Like, I'm going to be sitting here, because I was sitting on the front row, I was in staff. And I thought, I'm going to be sitting here, like, with no hair. Like, I was just, So after church was over, she goes, I hope you didn't mind that I fixed your tag. And I said, well, I was just afraid you were going to pull my wig off. And she goes, that's a wig?
Oh.
And I go, yeah. And she goes, I never would have known. And I thought, okay, well, not everybody is cluing in on this, So that was good. It made me feel a little bit better. But for me, the hair loss was traumatic. And then I wound up losing it twice because, like you said, I did all my chemo. It had just started growing back, and then they had me do a stem cell transplant with high-dose chemo. Oh. But we waited like 8 weeks or 10 weeks.
So it was just...
I was just starting to have hair again, and then it went all again. And that time I really did lose every single hair on my body with the stem cell and the high-dose chemo. Like, there was no hair. I remember one day sitting in the car, like, driving, and I could see little hairs.
Yes.
I'm like, hair's growing back, yay! Like, that's how significant
it is.
That caught me off guard. How I felt so connected to, because I'm not a vain woman. I really am not a vain woman. Like, I mean, I'll put on makeup, but like yesterday I went to Hobby Lobby with no makeup on, right? Like, I don't spend all day getting ready. I've never been that girl.
You just look this good normally.
No, I do not. but I'm also happy to just go out with no makeup. I don't care about that. But so it surprised me that level of vanity existed in me, that I didn't want people to think I was sick.
That was my main thing.
Yeah. I don't think I mind being bald as much as I didn't want to feel sickly. Look sickly.
I realized when mine fell out, I thought, oh my goodness, I look like my brother. I mean, I knew he looked a lot alike. He wears his hair real short. I was like, oh my goodness, I look just like him. That was a shock. So, and then too, when the hair starts coming back, nobody tells you that it's going to come back on your face as well. Like, mine was like down on my face. I was like, is this going to be here forever?
Right.
But it goes away.
Yeah,
but it
was all new.
At first, it's like, oh my, I'm going to have a beard. And then mine came back really almost gray, white, totally.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, because I'd colored my hair up till the time I lost it. It fell out. And I thought, oh, my hair's really gray now. And then within... Like, I got little bitty, short hairs everywhere, and they were all gray. And then in a couple of days, it went this color. Like, this is no color. This is... I decided once it grew back, I was never going to color it again.
I wish I had decided that.
Well, you were younger.
Was too young.
You were young.
I was already coloring my hair at 38.
Oh, okay.
Because I already had that much gray hair. So when it started growing back in, it was definitely what I would call salt and pepper. And I was just like, I'm not ready for that. Now it's way beyond salt and pepper. It's lots of salt and very little pepper. But yeah, now the thought of trying to go gray, I'm just like, oh, maybe I should shave my head and start all over again. I don't think I could do it. But But yeah, so they don't let you color your hair either for a
Right.
little while.
Yes.
Which was kind of traumatic, but
Yeah. And mine was like tight corkscrews, like a poodle. Is
mine
about what
came
mine
back
looked like.
really curly.
Yeah.
Really curly.
Which
And
I kind of liked for
I
a
love
while.
it. Took me a while to figure out the products.
Right. But
You
then
know.
I liked it.
No, I loved it. Mine lasted, how long did yours last?
Mine was probably about at least 2 years, if not into that third year.
So is this more what your hair was
yeah,
previously?
this is about what it was like.
So mine probably lasted 6 or 7 years.
Maybe it was that second dose of chemo.
It's something. Yeah.
Yes.
It lasted probably about 6 or 7 years, and then I would say over the next like 18 months, it just reverted back to like it always had been, straight Cherokee Indian hair. You know, that's what I've always had. This is curling iron.
Yeah.
So
I remember the first time that when it was growing back, I was outside and I thought I had a spider on my head. And so I'm doing this, and then I went, oh, that's my bangs. Like I didn't even know they were that long, but they would blow.
Yeah.
But literally I thought I'd walked into a spider web or something.
That's so hilarious.
But then it was like, oh, I have bangs.
Oh, well, I think part of it is, I mean, as a woman, you spend a lot of time doing your hair.
We do.
Right? I mean, that's how a lot of time is spent in your life from the time you're 12 or 13
Right.
on, you know, hot rollers and all the things we used to do if you're my age. But, yeah, I mean, it was a big time saver, I will say that.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
there was nothing to shave, nothing to wash, and nothing to dry.
Showers were quick.
Quick.
Yeah.
And getting ready was quick. So plop that wig on my head. and
I
walk
think
out the
mine
door.
was probably about 6 months that I didn't have hair. 4 months, 4 to 6 months, somewhere in there. It was about how long I didn't have any.
Yeah, I remember. So I started having chemo in January, and it was by September, I was comfortable enough to not wear the wig, but wear hats because I had a little bit of hair. Now I wouldn't wear a hat at work. I'd still wear the wig at work, but like we went on a trip, and I have pictures where I wore a hat the whole time on the trip. But because I had like this much hair,
Right.
so I had probably 8 or 9 months because, like I said, it had just started coming back, and then
Right.
we did it all again. So I had quite a long time with no hair. It was not a good look.
I do remember that because when it fell, I think I still would have a few hairs here and there. And I remember that I had finished all the chemo, and then those even came out. And I went, oh, now, am I? And because you read, there's this percentage, very tiny percent, that the hair never comes back.
Right.
So then I was like fearful, am I that tiny percent?
I
And
hope
I'm not going to
not.
have any
Right.
hair. So, but then once it starts growing, it seems like it's super fast that you have hair.
Yeah, I mean, I remember just going and trying to, because it grew weird, because it was all growing the same, and so you kind of wind up with this, because it was curly,
Like a mullet.
kind of a little mullet
Yes.
thing going on. So I remember going and having it cut a lot to kind of, and I'm like, I worked so hard to grow that hair, and I'm cutting it off. But I had to have it look
Yes.
right, it just was.
Yeah, because the
The
mullet
grow-out
thing
process.
was real.
It's real.
Yeah.
And the grow out process is awful. But once you get about a year down the road, it's really,
Oh yeah.
it's really good. It's really good. Well, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
That's a lot. That's
But
a lot of information.
It really is one of the hardest things for women that we go through with the whole cancer thing.
I think so too. I think it's such a big part of our identity, what we
Yes.
look like and what our hair is. And it's funny because I see women who I've only met after cancer and they have short hair or they have whatever. And then you see like pictures of them on Facebook where they have this long flow hair. And
Yes.
I'm like, oh, I kind of like their short hair better. Or like, I kind of like their new hair color, better than their old. Like, because that's the only way I know them.
Right.
And it is funny when you let go of that old person that you used to be, and now this new person is rocking whatever God gave her, right? Like you got a whole new vibe. So, well, Debbie, thanks
You're
for sharing your
welcome.
story.
Yeah.
We're so glad you're here.
Thanks.
We're so glad you're part of our community, and you guys check in with us again. Bye.